Hello, everyone. So good to see you. I hope my microphone is working. That's another thing. Let me test it first too. Okay, looks like it is. So, like I said, right, I have not been streaming for such a long time, and I told folks on my Discord channel. By the way, thank you so much too for continuing to follow me, and I think App Boy too. He was there, and so let me make sure too. Nobody's talking with me yet on the stream, but I just wanted to say hello and welcome. It's been a long time, but like I said, right now it's almost the holidays, and maybe a lot of you are. Obviously getting ready for the holidays, or maybe already on vacation. And if you're watching, thank you very much. And if you watch it on demand, thank you very much. Yes, so as such, I've been so busy, right? So before I was doing more like streaming, things like that. Distributed systems is still something I'm interested in. But because of company, kind of priorities shifted, and we all have to do work. And so essentially, right, I started doing generative AI. And when I look back to it, was like at least how many, like probably 4 or 5 months ago, and I started right doing a bit of Gen AI. But then since then, and even like up till last week was just real busy because of all the stuff I need to be doing. And then with generative AI, I myself too, I'm trying to study and get a good feel of it. That there's just so many things. And I think Brian too, App Boy, right, was just telling me too that you are also working on Hugging Face, LangChain, all of these things, which is very nice, and I think will be good too. I think I will take this opportunity and turn this stream into talking more about generative AI. I mean, as such, it is the thing now, right? Everybody is doing it. So, and also too, by the way, if you notice too, because I used this Pretzel Rocks before and had a subscription, but I actually dropped the subscription. So right now too, I think it's very annoying. I was trying to see how I could get rid of the, of the now playing thing on the chat. But I guess it's okay too if you want, so what songs are playing. But I'm trying to kind of get back into a, like another music provider too. But because of Pretzel Rocks being so nice, I'm able to basically have the output redirect to the proper audio channel easier. I try other things, but for some reason, I couldn't like do the. I mean, it doesn't already have the proper audio output setup. I think like from my OBS, I would have to play around with it or something. So anyway, that's what here it is. So anyway, I may be talking to myself right now live, but that's okay too. And again, I just want to kind of get back into the swing of things. I think there are lots to learn and do. So for me too, I want to get more into hands-on now, because I think for the first, previous 4 months or so, I was just mostly too coming up with ideas, really understand the subject matter first, be able to talk about it. And if you have joined me, right, in some of my talks, thank you very much. And those are more, I'd say, more conceptual, architectural types of talks, right? More kind of talks. And talk isn't going to lead to much if we don't do anything. And even I'm eager to get my hands into it. So that's what this stream is for. I want to get back and really kind of get into the hands-on stuff. And then if you're patient with me, you can follow me along. I'm trying to also do some things. And as such too, I wanted to share with you, and also, as you all know too, I mean, if you have been here for a long time, I've been doing, I was doing more Java stuff. So folks too may be asking, right? Because AI, machine learning, are traditionally not a Java playground, so to speak, not like attracting Java people. And it's interesting too. I also was wondering, like, why, not more Java people working with it. But I was then talking to a fellow, community group leader, and he has kind of very, very good observations too. He articulated it really well. Basically, is saying that, well, Java developers in general, right? It is, nothing is simple. Let's put it that way. So people spend the time, in their first kind of the first part of the career learning and perfecting it. So then the second kind of stage in general would be people kind of getting proud, essentially, well, you should be proud, build out some systems, you learn the framework, for example, like Spring or any kind of, popular Java, JVM type of technology. You want to continue building on that knowledge. So you spend a lot of time doing that, perfecting it, talking about it, and then of course, JVM Java ecosystem is also improving. So you're kind of growing with it. And in the meantime, right, we spend more time on doing that. And then, of course, too, eventually people's lives are changing. Maybe you start to have families and have, children, and your concerns are different. So if, let's say, some new technology comes out, if there is no need to, most likely people won't really want to bother spending the time learning. But, for folks like myself, I'm actually always interested, curious, and I'm just not saying it's good or bad. We need to do whatever is comfortable for us. So, but the thing is, though, in this field, in software, is a bit kind of cruel too. It's like, the whole industry keeps going. It's like, I kind of find it really good to use an analogy of surfing the big waves, right? essentially too in the ocean or in the beach, right by places where there are high winds, and the wind will, keeps blowing, the waves will come splashing to shore. It won't stop, right? So who will be stopping is your choice to stop, right? So it's like, okay, I'm the surfer, I'm done with surfing, I no longer, surf the big waves, whatever. Which is okay too. But my point is that we all have to do whatever we want to do, but it's just an observation. Maybe that's why Java developers tend to be less interested, maybe, or kind of having the time essentially to explore further. However, there are also some, kind of a group of folks too who are originally Java, and they switching to doing also incorporating artificial intelligence, machine learning. Notably too, the New York Java users group lead, Frank Greco, he's one of the ones that spent a lot of time on developing Java code. And in fact, he came up with he worked with on the one of the Java community process, as you know, right? If you're a Java folks, you know that is open source, right? And folks, you can all participate in the community and do essentially new ideas proposal. And that, once it's approved, you capture it into what is called JCP, like Java Community Process. And JSR is, I think, Java spec requirement, something. And anyway, so there are different numbers that numbers your ideas, and then you implement all of these things, and so that's how it's being governed. So anyway, my point is that Frank works on one of the visual, the earlier, right? Computer vision is one aspect, but big aspect of artificial intelligence. So he's kind of big in leading that effort with some other Java folks too. So anyway, there are definitely people in Java working on it. And today, too, I wanted to bring to you, because my company, DataStax, we have our chief architect, Jake. He actually started working on this one library. Is essentially Java. He calls it like JLlama, but as such too, it's essentially an inferencing engine, right? So as some of you may know, right, machine learning essentially too, I mean, it involves many steps. But the step is that, a lot of the steps I look at it, initial steps of working with machine learning is basically what we essentially are doing every day. A lot of our job, basically, if you go to an enterprise shop, no matter where you go, you need to kind of move data mechanically from one spot to the other and do a lot of scrubbing and transforming, all of these things. Those are very common kind of activities in doing computer programming, regardless of your languages, regardless of your situation. It's always some files you need to move from point A to point B. Data gets scattered, kind of collected from everywhere. So the thing is that, and that's what we're exploring into some of these libraries, what it is to enable this mechanical part to get in. And then what it is, the magic is the actual artificial intelligence part is basically the cognitive, right? The deep learning stuff. And that's where all of these deep things happen, the magic that happens in the large language models, right? The LLMs. And so anyway, Llama. So I want to kind of go back. Jake did one on Java and Java implementation of an inferencing engine. As you know, right, machine learning, again, two broad categories. One is the training. You take a humongous amount of data, train it, right? So that's where all the deep learning, all these magic is happening. It's basically, think of it like a giant cooker. It needs to cook up all of the data and sort them out, categorize however you want, and then basically train the data, and then comes up with the actual model. The model is sort of eventually is like a feature store, right? Whatever it is actually will be useful, so to speak. And what is it useful for? It's basically for the next part, the big part, which is inferencing. Inferencing is when you apply the model to search for what you need, right? Essentially, or search, but it's more than just search. If you we all think of search, it's like, yeah, you can use the traditional using Elasticsearch, right? Or like going to Google search. Oops, they say it this way too. Sorry. And then, of course, too, Google too has the search engine, right, doing all of these things. And basically, there's also AI infused, right, or AI enabled search now. But the thing is too, there's also traditional search that does not use the AI stuff, but there's also AI search. But the point I'm trying to make is that, doing searches, what we call AI type of searches, goes beyond just like, okay, let's say I'm searching for Chicago, then all the data coming back in. But what is significant too about this wave of ChatGPT that came out exactly in November, a year ago, it's changing the world because right now we can talk to the machine, talk to the bot like we talk to one another. No need to kind of specify, I want to, how it is if you write code, is, let's say, command line. You need to tell it what the parameters are, and you have strict rules of specifying the parameters, using some kind of flag or parameters like dash A, equals something, dash B. No need to do that. Don't talk like computer, talk like people. Essentially, that's what it is. And that's what is kind of significant. And then, of course, then it goes off and search for the answer. Not only searching too, what it does is, the chat GPT, all of these deep learning things is basically based on human languages, right? The natural language processing. It goes and kind of don't look up these multidimensional data expressed in the forms of vectors, right? And as such too, this is where I want to come in, is what my company is doing. We have a database, Apache Cassandra, very powerful, very strong, very robust. Apple Computer uses our our enterprise version initially. I think they're also using it to our managed cloud version, powered by Cassandra. So initially too, well, Cassandra is just no SQL wide column, but then it is now capable of handling GenAI. These are multidimensional data that's expressed in the form of vector embeddings, right? So that's what I also kind of touch upon. And I'll show you too, if you want to play around with a vector database, I would suggest that you try out what my company is doing. Again, I'm not here to say sell things, but what I offer to you is basically a $25 per month free tier usage too. So let me do that. You know what? I should have done, and here it is. Let me share this quickly with you. This is the one. Let me kind of which one? It's interesting too. Okay, here we go. Wait. I can't add. What is going on? Okay, sorry about that. I'm just going to do this one thing. Okay, let me kind of do it like that. Okay, try vector database DB from DataStax. Basically, it's called Astra. And Astra, the thing is our managed cloud platform. So it's essentially built, using Apache Cassandra underneath the hood, with vector, right? With vector search. And so this vector, again, it's basically, it handles all of the searches and storing using this methodology called embeddings, right? So embeddings are what you convert all of your data into, like, arrays of floating point numbers. So, okay, so if you're math inclined, then you probably will understand right away. It is essentially linear algebra using vector math, all of these things. But the thing is too, don't worry about it. If you are using AI, just trust that, this mechanism will work very well, very fast too. And our company too, we actually also come up with, our founder came up with a library called, it's a Java implementation of vector library called JVector. It's very, very fast. And trust me, super fast. It's basically, he knows his stuff. His name is Jonathan Ellis. He's just amazing. I've met him, and it's really cool. Not in person yet, but he's very cool too, and very smart. So, but I can also talk about that too if enough interest, comes. I can talk. But anyway, so what I'm trying to do is that try this with Vector at we're giving out $25 per month. You actually make sure. Some of you may not be based in the U.S., so essentially $25 US. If you want to do kind of more like kind of personal projects, the $25 free tier is really sufficient too. And then we give you another 25 in the next month. So if you just use up this month, don't worry, the next month you'll get renewed, with another 25. So it's kind of nice, right? So again, per month, and then this will amount to like $300 USD for free per year. And also too, you can basically create your cluster on either, the three big cloud providers, Google Cloud, Amazon AWS, or Microsoft Azure too. So these are being done. And we won't, essentially too, if you create the database, it will be running in our infrastructure. So it won't kind of get into your space. So then in other words, you don't need to pay for it. It's basically, you use this as a service, and then we will take care of all the payment, all of these things, in the month. So again, let me share with you. this one and show. All right, folks, why do I do it like this? I think I shouldn't be doing it like this way. Let me do it. Oh, why is it like ticker, right? Oh, can you? Okay, let me do this one thing. I think I will actually do a banner. No, I shouldn't be doing it like a banner because the banner is kind of hard for you to see, isn't it? Yeah, but you can at least see it going, right? If you want to do it, I wanted to do like a entirely like a screen, over here, the short link, right? So I just want to have that stable. So give me a second and I'll get to it. And like I said, I lately, I haven't been streaming for like 4 or 5 months. Some of the things I did not remember. I have to actually go back to do it, and that I guess that's how things go. Um, but that's okay. It will come back to. And let me kind of look for my, my text thing, and I have a banner, and I think I also have. Is it a ticker? Oh, I did it on ticker, but I actually should be doing a what you call it? A hold on a second. Where did it go? It's funny too. Like I said, um, here we go. Okay, I'm just looking for a place where I could do that. Okay, and it's here. Okay, so here it is too. So it's kind of like easier for you to look at, right? So I put it down here so you can kind of capture that. And again, if you go there, right? Well, why don't I actually go there now, right? And then we can kind of look at and kind of let me shrink myself up too. Hold on a second. And okay, here we go. Now I make myself a little smaller so then I don't block the screen. Although it's interesting, I'm realizing that somehow I'm actually off this. So hold on a second again. I cannot believe it. Okay, let me kind of come back this way. I don't know why it is like, like a lot of things have changed. I'm sorry. Actually, my OBS, I also updated it too. And then I think this might be better. Yes, so now you can see my face. It's not like I cover myself. Okay, so again, by the way, too, this is a picture of Chicago, right? If you have not been to Chicago, not that I live up there, but I wanted to share with you where I took the picture is actually from the Millennium. Well, what you see, right, is the Millennium Park. It's kind of like the famous thing in Chicago. You see that over here below, this over here, where I'm kind of doing my cursor here. That's actually the shell where they perform like music and like a concert hall shell. Let me kind of move it out of the way. Why am I not able to move? Hold on a second. I think I have to do this. Hold on. Okay, so this thing, right? Okay, I put it right by there on top. You see the left side. That one is basically the shell. That's where the performance stage. And then over here, see over there on the. Oh, actually, I am blocking it. So let me move myself. Let me move myself a little bit because I am actually blocking. Why did I do that? Right. All right. Let me kind of move myself over there. All right, let me move myself over there. Now I'm not blocking, but over here too, right on the left side here. See that's the ice rink, So folks like to go ice skating in Chicago, and over here in the next to it is basically called the bean, right? The bean is kind of that giant structure, that artistic structure. So it's very exciting. And then also over there too, like a screen over there. I think there's like in the summertime there will be water spouts that comes up because it gets too hot. So the kids like to stand there and their water is shooting up, and it is a really nice park. And so this is a Millennium Park, and all of these. Although I do have to say I didn't even have a chance to walk through that. But okay, so just to show you, so this is Chicago. Again, it's daytime here, but I just a picture that I took. That 3 weeks ago I was up and well, actually talking about which is like a month ago. I was in Chicago helping out and presenting at this meetup called AI Camp. Right, so folks, you are interested too. There are AI Camp local meetup groups everywhere too. It's essentially by the same organization behind the scenes. So now I'm in Chicago. I'm also the chapter lead, one of the chapter leaders here too. So anyway, so the company that was hosting us that night is called Slalom, right? They do consulting. It's quite a well-known consulting firm based in Chicago. So they are actually up, on I think if I remember correctly, it's like 20th floor or something like that, facing, right? This would be facing the south side if you kind of look far enough, the south side of Chicago. So I snapped a picture because it really is pretty, right? It's just so yeah, folks, if you are not in Chicago, but if you get a chance that you want to come to Chicago, let me know. Right now, yes, it is a bit cold, but in the summertime it will be very nice. So anyway, so again, please, consider signing up for our Extra database. So, okay, so that's that. And let me kind of hide this and let me move myself back because I am kind of like blocking everything in here. So, okay. All right, so I'm kind of back on the other side. Okay, so here we go. So I'll leave the ticker running if you want to, kind of explore with that. But let me kind of, as I mentioned too, I wanted to go and show you the Extra database. So let's do that, and let's do that. Okay, let me do that, and then I was showing you that code, right? Uh, the 3GDA zip, whatever. Well, anyway, I'm just out speaking out loud, but basically is that short link, and then from there you'll be able to go over here. Let me do this one thing, so I maximize it. Okay, and you will then see, let me expand it. So you get this, right? Sign up for free, and basically all you need to do, right? You can say I sign up with GitHub, and it will come back, and let me expand it. Ooh. Okay, so like I can single sign on to your organization. I happen to already have logged on to GitHub, but otherwise too, what you could do is that, hold on a second, and how do I go back? Let me see. Back. Wait. What is the key to go back? Navigate view tab. Okay. How do I go back? Wait. Back. Where's the back short button in here? Oh, somebody is chatting. I'm sorry. Oh no, that was just the pretzel rock thing. The song display. But anyway, let me do this one thing. That's another thing is a little bit annoying in here. Oh, that's what happened to me a lot. Yeah, I don't know where it went now. Let me do this one thing. Here we go. I think somehow I need to upgrade my Mac and it's not working too good. So it's a bit of an old-fashioned thing. So let's say I don't want to, essentially I don't want to use GitHub. I actually have Google too. So you go to Google, same thing. All you need to do is basically, well, here's the thing about my MacBook. Sometimes it gets too excited, but okay, you get the idea. You can just click on the link to sign up. Again, sign up, you don't need to give credit card, which is very nice. And that's why I like to share this. In general, too, I don't like to share things when I say, okay, pay a tons of money. But I want to share things that are free, like with the community too. So, all right. So as you can see, right, you get into this the console here, then you can basically, okay, this thing too is a newer feature. We basically have a better UI to help you to navigate through this. So you're welcome to do that by enabling preview like that. So let's take a look, right? So essentially, it's just preview. It's basically you can do our vector database using the feature here. You can look at database metrics, helps you with loading data using the data loader and also the data explorer and different like connection methods, right? That how can you actually work with your database using, APIs of the clients to Java client, Python, TypeScript, or JavaScript, right? You can enable that too. But for now, I'm not going to because I just wanted to quickly show you how you can leverage on our free vector database to start kind of experiment with that. So now I will be getting more into some of the other things too, like the libraries. But for now, let's kind of take a look, if you want to. You have organization. So I just use my default one and go home. Wait, I'm already in home, and then you can take a look at all of the databases too. So in order to create a vector database, and for now to actually by default, you can only have one vector database. So in your repo. Now, the thing is though, if you want more, you want to experiment with more, actually feel free to ping me, right? Again, I have my, you know what, let me kind of go back and share with you my my Discord server, over here. This is my Discord server. So please connect with me there. You can always ping me there, and then I'll help you connect you with someone. especially if you are, let's say you're a startup company, you want to start using our vector database and experiment with things, and we will be actually very happy to help you with it. Now, the thing is, the caveat is that we do kind of require you, as what is called like a starter kind of subscription. It's not that much money, I'd say. It's not like 10,000 like that, not even that. Maybe like 1,000, I think. I don't know what the exact pricing, but something for a business, it should be affordable, is what I'm trying to say. Maybe like between 500 and 1,000, something like that. And then you get maybe a couple of months in which you can use it, and also with more extended space, more data space, all of these things, and you can try out with that, and we'll be there to help you along in your journey too. And then when you're ready, then you launch it, then we can kind of then talk about how can you sign up as like our regular subscriber, which will even be better because we'll have a team of people that will be supporting you in your journey in your business too. So that's that. Anyway, so my point is that right now, right, a lot of us may not be ready or thinking of being business owner, but let's say you just want to, as a technologist, you want to play with it, then you can just go to create database. And then over here too, you can choose, I'm sorry, I think I'm blocking you now. Let me kind of unblock this thing. Oh, and I need to get back to here, hide. Okay, so you go here and then search for serverless database, and then basically give it your database name. Let's say you can say, App Boy. Okay, I don't know if App Boy is here, but let's say App Boy, and then key space is a namespace is required. Let's say key space, something like that. And then I want it on, let's say, Google Cloud. And then you can see too, once you do that, you can do that and then just create it. That's actually before you used to have, oh, here we go. You need to scroll down a little more. Then it will show you the regions that are available in where your location is too. So right now I'm in, kind of central US, and I get the US East region of the GCP server. So you can do that. Once you get that, then you can just click create database. Now, if you're concerned about the costs, we can kind of show it to you. Operational costs is like not too bad, right? These are like read requests is 36 cents, per million messages, or actually over a million, right? Like that. And you can have up to 1 million, right? And these are operational costs, and the right is a little higher in there. Vector dimensions, written or queried, all of these things, and like this storage transfer of these. So if you're interested, go take a look into it and create the database, and then you're ready. Now, in my case, I already created a database. I'll show it to you. Although I have a feeling that the database, yes, is unknown because I actually used it last week, I think, when I was in the summit, but after a few days, it would just essentially hibernate. So basically, too, I could just go there, and what it does, it will then get spin up again, too. So over here, too, it's still unknown because it will start up again. Essentially, if you don't use it for a few days, it will basically hibernate, because otherwise, too, it will cost money, for our database now, or for our center. But the thing is, if you have signed up for a starter pack, sign up for usage, it will always be ready essentially for you. So here we go. You can kind of take a look too. This is my database, and how do you use it, right? You can actually go to using this what is called CQL console. CQL stands for Cassandra Query Language. It's operates much like SQL. If you're familiar with regular relational database and using SQL to communicate, it's essentially same kind of semantics that you can syntax that you can use too. So over here is still going to connect right now. Not sure why it's taking a long time. Sometimes it might get into what you call like maintenance, so it might take a bit longer. So here we go. Actually, in my case, I created using Azure because that was in this Chicago. That one was actually a Chicago meetup, not the same one where I took that picture, but it's is in December, because the picture that I took over here, for example, this one was taken in November when I was at Slalom for doing a presentation, and then in December I also did another one, and that was with Microsoft because they have Azure. So here Okay, so I apologize. Rather than wasting time in here, for some reason, it could be we might have run into their maintenance window too. I'm not sure, but let me not forget worry about it. So essentially, too, what it will come up is kind of a shell interface. You can then make use of CQL commands, and so you may be wondering, well, how do I even start, right? So I like to point out there's a really nice if you go to documentation there, like I said, I go back to the console, like you scroll down and the bottom here is like a book that's documentation. You can click. And once you click in there, it's basically over here, it gives you a lot of guidance too, which is very nice. And over here, um, DataStax documentation. And I wanted to point out too, there's also for vector database. Now, of course, too, I also have met folks in which they said, well, how do I even use basic Cassandra, right? Basic, essentially Astra. And you can actually follow all of these things here. They're pretty comprehensive. You should be able to look for kind of a guidance tutorial. You can kind of step through that. But I will be happy to step through some things with you if you like. Just let me know. But right now, too, just don't have the time because I wanted to get more into GenAI and ChatGPT. So if you click on DataStax Astra DB serverless first, then you'll find that there is also vector search. So if you click on vector search, I wanted to suggest this particular example, vector query vector data with CQL. This is a very nice kind of small examples, but like I said, right now I think it's a little bit. It's taking a long time, still going. So won't be able to use this CQL console, but wanting to suggest to you, you can follow this, right? How do you connect to the database using CQL SH, the shell? And essentially, too, once you get there, you should be able to interact it. It's like in a shell, right? And like Bash, for example. Um, you can then follow this, like there are different steps. You create the vector schema and load the data into the database, right? So you create the schema, you basically have to point to which namespace or key space you want to do. Well, you use, so make sure when you create that database and give it a proper namespace, because once you get created, that namespace, the name of that can't be changed for that particular instance. Maybe then if you want a new one, you have to essentially delete that database instance and then recreate a new one because you are only given one vector database, at any given point in time. So, okay, so now if you want to kind of figure out how do I create a table, so as you can see over here, I'm highlighting this, right? It's just create table, if not exist, their namespace dot, name of the table, which is products in this case. So as you can see, is exactly similar to SQL, right? So you create the table like name of the column, what is the type, in this case is an int for the first column, and it's also signal, it is a primary key. And then there's also name, and then you specify the type is a text. It's like, essentially string, right? It's kind of like unstructured within itself, right? Unstructured string. And then description is also text, like kind of open like a form of string. And then also this one is of interest. In here we talk about vector data type. So if you want to, now as such, when you create vector data, as such, we talk about the dimensions of this data. Why do we need dimensions? It's because that's what is giving data the capability to be searched, in a more multi-dimensional fashion. Think of the fact that we live in a complex world. That's what is giving the magic, is because of how data is now being treated as vector, because then you have to worry about how do you make kind of different relationship. Now the thing again, if I kind of go back to math, right? If you're familiar with math, with linear algebra, matrix, like dot matrix type of product, right? And when you perform those operations on data, you are essentially trying to do searches on some set of data using this approach. This approach essentially allows you to look at data from as though it is like make up of multi dimensions. And if I kind of describe it like that, I know if you find it a little bit kind of hard to grasp, I can also spend another maybe week, another stream to kind of talk more about it too. But for now, just trust it. It is vector data type, and it helps you with generative AI types of similarity searches. And so over here, as you can see, a vector data column, will be using this particular type. Is basically a vector type, and you specify it's always a floating point number, and we want 5-dimensional embedding. So the thing is, as you know, right, again, embedding is essentially you translate, let's say, a block of text. What it does is that the algorithm, roughly speaking, on a high level, it will take a look at the string, and then it tokenizes all the string, kind of take out the word, and then from each word it will map it to a value, which is a floating point number. So floating point as such is essentially like decimal numbers too, right? So floating point, and so you can actually kind of identify of it having like multiple dimensions. It can be up to, I think, for example, OpenAI, it has actually, I think the GPT 3.5, right? It has like 1,586 kind of dimensions to it. But then if it is 3.5 turbo, I believe it is like up to 15 or 16,000 dimensions too. But for now, just for illustration purpose, we're using a 5-dimensional embedding in here. So that's how you specify it. And then once you have got your table created, you then have to also create a custom index, right, to it. So now I won't get into all of the details, but if you're interested, right, as basically it uses this storage attached indexing type of mechanism in there. And it's important too. You want to create the index using this storage attached index because it enables this form of indexing allows, the searches to be done super fast too. And then you can actually read up on the documentation more in here. And then basically over here, you can also, basically this one's talk about, you can create the index using, on this particular column and using storage attached index, and then with options too. Is basically you can say, which, similarity function. Again, it gets more into the math side of things. You can use dot product or cosine, right? Over here it explains. Um, Valid, values for the similarity functions are cosine. They are by default. If you don't tell it, we'll be using cosine. And folks, if you're kind of remember your geometry, it's basically cosine are like the slope over the adjacent and all of these things. So okay, so essentially that's what it is. And then there's dot product, basically using matrix math to do it, or Euclidean. So there are three kind of kind of ways of doing similarity functions too. And then over here too, once you kind of take care of the table, set up all the index, then you can insert all your data into the table. So let's take a look at a sample set of data in here. So you're kind of inserting into a product. Remember, we have ID, which is an int, name, description, or text, and then this item vector is the vector column. So how does it translate to the data, right? So essentially too, and that's what kind of, now when we kind of talking about, we work with Langstream or work with other libraries that actually helps you to kind of create templates and kind of make it easier for you to interact with the tables. So they would take care of things for you too. So essentially too, if you kind of translate them into raw kind of CQL in this case for Cassandra, or other kind of database have different language API interface, right? Essentially too, that's how it's being done, right? You in Cassandra vector search. So you insert the table, the data into the table. And then basically ID will be an int, like a 1, or name can be coded cleats, whatever it is, some string. And then the other description is just free-form text too in there. And then with this column of vector is basically an array of floating point numbers. And we have 5 dimensions. So as you can see, there are 5 elements in this array. And then each of them is, a of type floating point. So it's some decimal essentially. So you can randomly kind of enter some numbers just for testing purpose, right? I'm not saying you always random. You can't, right? In reality, in real production, then it has to make sense. So, okay. So as you can see, so on and so forth, you can like insert different, kind of rows of data into it. And then after you insert it, then you can then start doing query. So you can do a query like how you do with SQL, select star, from the table name, order. You can do an order by the item, the vector data type. So, and then using ANN, which is approximate nearest neighbor. And so basically too, how do you order, right? You now may be wondering, I'm dealing with multidimensional data, and each data is expressed in the form of an array of 5 dimensions. And it's, it's not going to be able to do if you just use regular kind of, expression or kind of math, scalar math, right? Which is what is more used to. We are more used to single dimension, but in this case, multidimensional thing, you have to kind of basically search and then give it what you're looking for. So the search string is essentially expressed in the form of also an array of 5 floating point numbers in here. So some kind of approximate. So ANN stands for approximate nearest neighbor. So then it will then activate all of these vector math algorithms behind the scenes, and then basically search for any data that's kind of close enough to here. And then in this case too, we can also say limit one is basically we just want, it can return tons of data, but we just want one row. Basically, it will return the one that is closest to what you're looking for, right? So now at this point, it will go and search through the list of all the data that's been saved, in the same format, like arrays of 5 dimensions of, containing floating point numbers. So essentially, that's how you do the select. Okay, so here too, as it's just talk about how does it calculate the similarity of these things and blah blah blah, and so that's what it is. So this is kind of just very basic. And again, I won't be kind of stepping through right now. I think that was just having issue. Oh, yeah, for some reason, yeah. See, something is wrong, right? Unknown status for the database. I'm not sure what it is, so I have to kind of check with them. But I promise you, it doesn't always happen like this. Maybe I just need to remove it and then recreate it too, which is something I can do afterwards. And next week I can maybe step through that again. So all right, so hopefully this was helpful to give you some idea of how do you work with a vector database, and in this case with our DataStax vector database or DB vector. I actually have to find out exactly the name because it now we know is DataStax Astra DB. It used to be called DataStax Astra DB Vector. So I don't know whether the name has changed. There's also new features and new things coming out. For example, like RAG, which stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. So we have this thing called RAG Stack. It's basically combination of different tooling, kind of help you to do kind of retrieval augmented generation pattern easier too, and that's basically mix and match different types of tooling underneath to help you basically abstract out all of these steps and then makes it easier for you to develop your application. So okay, so that's that. And so I actually wasn't going to talk about the vector database first. I was just going to talk about some of these libraries, right? So but I think it is good to share with you this first, because especially I can quickly share with you this link, which is again still up above, in the ticker there if you want to sign up for it. So so that's that. And let me now turn to the next thing, which is what should we do it, right? Okay, so I was saying that Hugging Face. So how about that? So let me then bring up my Hugging Face thing. So just wanted, I have to kind of make some assumption that maybe not everybody has worked with a vector database. So let me bring up my Hugging Face thing. Okay. Okay, so maybe you can see it now. So okay, so over there, let me just kind of put this on top in here. Okay, so over here too, I'm just playing around. Happens to be this particular model, right? So I guess it is maybe that thing. Let me kind of remove the ticker now, and let me do that. Okay, here we go. Let me kind of remove that. Then we can see everything here. But let me also expand on the fonts here. So again, this is, Hugging Face. So you might be asking, what is Hugging Face? But this just so happened I'm in this particular model. So one thing though, I wanted to bring up Hugging Face from the point of view of how I'll be kind of illustrating the JLlama, which is a Java implementation of an inferencing engine. So let's see. So here it is, right? So I have first signed up for Hugging Face. As you know, right, it is a free usage, not all free, but then it also has a lot of integration with other libraries as well. So as such, right, I signed up for this, and then if you can kind of take a look into pricing too, there's like the hub. Yes, I guess essentially too, especially if you are new to Hugging Face, what it is, yeah, you may be asking. So as such, right, again, let me kind of talk through it. It's basically for working with this Chat GPT. If you kind of have to lay out all of the tools that you use to that you need, right? And it's kind of pretending this might be building a car, right? You start to lay out the tires, the front fender, the windows, windshield, all of these things. So as you can see, there are many parts to it. So if you're kind of thinking of constructing an AI, but the thing is though, very obvious is that first of all, you do need a model, right? Again, right? That's what provides you the core of the magic that's happening. It has all the neural uh, network processing that helps with searching for the answers and figuring things out for you. All of these, that's what like researchers have been working on. So anyway, so those are the models. But think of, okay, back to Hugging Face. Hugging Face is a free usage, kind of like an AI hub, right? A hub where you can find resources to build your particular Gen AI applications. So as such too, Hugging Face, as you can see up there, is basically you can have models, right? So these are like different models that people are sharing. So that's it. It's kind of like an open space, kind of where people can share their the models that they have trained. So again, right, models can be trained too, but of course, we all know most famous is ChatGPT, and then also then what else? Yeah, well, actually, what should I say? Like ChatGPT is the essentially the application, I should say, but the model itself is GPT 3.5, right? So that came out a year ago. And basically, too, then there are variations. So as such, right, those are foundation type of models. They are foundation in the sense is that it incorporate a huge, kind of corpora of data. It can in the form of text, for example, and then of course too, it can be in images, diffusion images, right? Like for example, Stability AI came up with Stability diffusion, all of these things, and so they kind of incorporate like image data too. But for now, I think in here is that it's like actually the thing is I'm noticing mostly they're text generation, but as you can see too, some of them are text to image and some are like text generation. Most of them seems to be text to generation. And then that's another thing too about ChatGPT. What would make it kind of truly useful is be able to do intermodal things, right? So mode, we're talking about text, right? Text is one mode, is one form of kind of data, is text data, and we're most familiar with, you can type it in a chat, chat dialogue and ask questions, and it comes back with also answers in the form of text. That's the most common. But the thing is, kind of makes it more useful as wowing people are text to image. For example, you type something and it will come up with an image, or like text to video. And there are actually 6 different forms of identifiable like modes too. Let me kind of quickly show you one thing, because as such too, I have actually some presentations. Oh, I should have actually done that. So okay, here we go. Let me like real quickly show it to you. So I'm just gonna quickly show it to you, right? This particular diagram, I just basically wanting to show folks, again, we have text, right? Text is one form, the most common, I'd say, and then there's also images, and then code, right? That's also wowing, because it's basically we can say, well, ask the bot, can you generate code for me? I don't want to write it, write a sorting routine for me, for example, something like that, and it will generate code. It is pretty fascinating, because if you think about it, right, as programmer, I mean, I assume that's at least some of you here are programmer, developer, you know how focused we need to be in order to write some computer code. You write it in a almost error-free way. It does require a lot of concentration, but that's where I think this generative AI will always be very useful, is to help us when we're too busy. Maybe we have family stuff going on. You are maybe a young mother or young dad. You have babies, and you need to write this whole set of library. But some of the more like, so to speak, right, kind of like, let's say, algorithms or some kind of library, especially I call them utility kind of functions, or in Java, that's what I'm used to call these utilities, right? They're kind of more writing libraries, and a lot of things too are somewhat repetitive, right? You can find similar routines like doing bubble sort, doing, kind of, trees expanding into tree structure, whatever it is, some data structure. You can basically use code generation to do all those things for you. And of course, you can't trust it, but you still need to verify. But really, it saves a lot of time. So code is one form of mode. And then there's also audio, as we can tell too, right? And video, that's also amazing. I wanted to show you something. I was right before this, I play around with this particular video generation. It's actually not too bad. Maybe I'll show it to you what I did. Okay, and then there's also three-dimensional too. So these are like essentially the six kind of base type of like modals, right? And then the amazing thing is to be able to do kind of like text to image, which actually Stable Diffusion has done it. And essentially text to code, which you see GitHub Copilot, for example, their codec, right? That's the model behind it, can actually help it. And code, and essentially Copilot is an app for that makes use of codec, right? This particular model. And then audio, like Whisper, all of these other things, and video, all of these things. So we'll take a look too. It's kind of getting excited to kind of talk about it too. So that's that. And let me see. Okay, let me kind of get back. So just wanted to kind of quickly kind of step through it too. So now kind of back to this Hugging Face, you can basically leverage on the model. So basically, one of the libraries, well, of course, you can use like Langstream, Llama Index, all of these things to do. But I have to admit that I haven't gone in so much in depth as I have, the past day or so into this Java library called JLlama. So as such, Llama has been kind of starting to become the de facto kind of name, because Llama, I think, is picked because it sounds like, if you spell right, LLAMA, Llama, and it's basically almost seems like LLM. So I think that's why they adopted this name, I believe, right? And it's essentially to Meta that came up with Llama. So we can kind of take a look too. Why don't we do that? And essentially too, Llama. Actually, I already have Llama 2 in here. I have actually requested that too. So there's Meta came up with Llama 2, and it's free right now, right? The open source LLM is available for free, LLM Llama 2. So this particular JLlama can work with Llama 2 too. So I'll kind of quickly show it to you, and you can download the model. But the thing is, in Meta too, you actually do need to register. So I have already got that in here, but I'm not going to step through the same thing. But as such, Llama 2 is one of them. And then what else? There are also like if you go to OpenAI, right? OpenAI, and what is it in here? No, OpenAI. Let's see. You can go into there. OpenAI is kind of like the de facto, right? Kind of a place, right? There's a consortium of different companies too. So if you kind of take a look into it, right? It is about, but if you kind of go into his research, right, and essentially it's funded by multiple companies. I think it's also, well, it is kind of getting all the investment now from all the VCs too, and but a lot of companies too, corporations have also a part into I think their research lab, right, but they are really pioneer. Like if we kind of talk about model, we are kind of looking up to them. They are like the guiding kind of standard for the rest of us, basically. So, okay, so that's that. So okay, so now let's get into JLlama, and let me kind of go into here, and hold on a second. I do have to say that I'm a little bit not very organized today, and let me go to JLlama. Okay, let me go into here. Okay, so if you go to this, and where did my thing go? I have to kind of show it to you, and let me do this. Oh, this is Astra. Sorry, hide. I meant to say let me do this. So this is JLlama. I think Jake would be very happy. I didn't even tell him I'm actually doing this. So, okay. So here we go. I think show. So this is, oh, wait. Podcast. Wrong thing. Sorry. No, not this. Where did it go? Here. It's funny. It's kind of like it auto scroll for me. So this is the GitHub. If you go there, go to TJake. slash JLlama. And this is where the Java library implementation, again, is for inferencing, right? So inferencing is when you apply models and do all the things you need to search. Let me also show you something funny too, because I was then trying the different models. And but the thing is too, is it's interesting. So this is the one. Okay, let me then now actually let me bring up my code editor, because then I fork it because I wanted to play around with it. So I fork this. And so let me kind of do this. So everybody got that, and that is essentially the original, the parent, right? And but I wanted to kind of bring this up in my IntelliJ. It's just a bit easier. Okay, and now let me then hide this. Okay, so I think I'm kind of having too many things kind of blocking this. So let me kind of like scroll down, and then you can see it better, right? Okay, all right. So just wanted to kind of make sure, and I will also uh, kind of do this one thing, which is increase the. Oops. Why is it not able to? What I wanted to do is I'll make the fonts a little bigger. Essentially, that's what it is. So I think it's in settings. Yeah, I can't just use my thing, right? So by the way, too, JLlama, it actually works with Java 21. So that's the latest version, which just came out in September, right? That's Java 21, which is a long-term LTS version. So that's safe to use and everything. So and then within your IDE, you should be able to just quickly, bind it with this particular library. So if I'm using IntelliJ in here, it's just basically you go to I have to go to my module and module. Okay, hold on a sec. Here, this is my parent. And again, I fork it. So this is the fork version. And I go to open module setting. And then I'm able to essentially to go to my project, and I wanted, talking about which, I play around too with GraalVM with JDK 21. Now, there's some issue though with some of the models that it can't, when I'm like running through unit tests, it doesn't work with it. But that's what I was trying with it. But the thing is though, I switch back to using Tamarin, which is the adopt open JDK. That's what I used to. So that's how I did it. And but the thing though is that I also actually run it on the command line too. So I kind of still like to resort to doing things on the command line, I have to admit. So here we go. I was gonna go and increase the font size. And so let me do that. Appearance and appearance. Okay. So why is it so? Download the font. Okay, skip. I don't want to do. Why it keeps saying? Okay, no. Okay, so system settings. No. Editor. The font. Okay. Yes. So this is the one, and I wanted this to be. Let me kind of make it a little bigger. I think I've done it 21 or something, so it's a little bigger for us to look at. Yes. So here we go. So I have forked this, and as you can see over here, the README. So you can pretty much too kind of look at this and follow. And well, it's not very obvious, but I guess if you're familiar with Java, then it isn't too hard to figure out. But let's say you may be new, so you look into this, and what do you do, right? So basically, if you kind of take a look, at the documentation, it supports these particular models right now. As I mentioned already, Llama 2, it supports GPT-2, and that's what I actually play with. Is actually kind of funny. I'll show you something to it. And BERT models, which I haven't tried yet, and BPE and WordPiece tokenizers, all of these things. And so at the present moment, because it is open source, so Jake, the author, didn't he didn't use a lot of enable a lot of models yet, but again, this is an open source project, and Jake is chief architect for all of the Astra database, the Cassandra thing. So yeah, he worked on this like his side kind of hobby project, I think. I haven't spoken to him yet. It's pretty amazing, right? Sometimes he just does multiple things. So he's a great guy, by the way. So okay, so here we go. So over here too, it basically tells you the feature. It has flash attention, and also Hugging Face safe tensors model and tokenizer format, and supports for these F32, F16, and BF16 models. So all of these are kind of getting into some specific type of LLM kind of model that it uses, and support quantitization. So that's something I learned too, is basically, as you know, when data becomes too big, is basically to make it more efficient, it will break it up into, essentially, I think, smaller chunks. And let me kind of take a look. I think that's what it is. Quantitization. So quantitization. Okay. That's what it is. Process of constraining. Oh, actually, that's right. So process of constraining an input from a continuous or otherwise large set of values, such as the real numbers, to a discrete set. So essentially, too, it's think of it like breaking down something too big and kind of chunking it, so to speak. It's not quite exactly chunking, but um, if you kind of look into here, Wikipedia is basically is math and digital signal processing is mapping the input values from a large set to output in a countable smaller set. So then it's often with a finite number of elements. So a lot of rounding and truncation are typical examples of quantitization processes. So it's evolved in some degree in nearly all digital signal processing. So that's kind of what it means, but it applies to this particular case, right? So, okay, so here we go. Oh, where did I go? No, sorry, here. Okay, let's kind of get back here. Sorry. So, okay, so that's what it is. So just try to understand this. Essentially is an LMM inferencing library. So you might wonder how to use. Oh, and I forgot to mention, in fact, right, you can use it with Java 20 or more, which is 21, right, the older one or newest one. And then it also uses Vector API. So Vector API, again, let's also take a look too. Now, again, I mentioned earlier about JCP process, right? And then there's also, that's why it's represented as JEP, right? JEP is Java, wait, what is it called? Let me kind of take a look. It stands for Java JDK Enhancement Process, right? So these are like JEP. So this is each project is called a JEP. Once it's kind of been proposed and it kind of approved, it's enabled, and it's a Vector API. And this particular one, just in Java 21, is Vector API, the 6th incubator. It's not really ready yet for prime time, so to speak, but it's kind of things going in process too. It's been like on for some time. So essentially, too, what it is an API that will express vector computations, right? That helps with reliably compile at runtime, and to basically optimize vector instructions on supported CPU architecture. So it is very true, and which is something maybe sometimes when we tend to be focusing more on, let's say, in application development, we're using all of these APIs, we may not have thought about what is going on underneath. So this should be interesting, and it's important to know, even though, let's say, you are not implementing internals, but these are more internal information. It's always good to know. I like to tell my Java users groups participant too, is that yes, we sometimes have speakers that comes in and talk about compilers, talking about system level things. You don't need to, you aren't working with it day to day, but think of it, the fact that you have knowledge about it, then you make better decision, right? Sometimes there might be libraries that are interacting with these lower, well, actually, a lot of these are interacting with some lower level type of functionalities. And it's always good to know what's underneath. You can't just completely like have a blind eyes to it. Just have some understanding on it. So then what you're picking on an API level is actually working with the right thing underneath. And actually, without going into all the details. So it's basically JLlama is making use of Vector API, and this is the 6th incubator of the Vector API. So as it is very fast too. And so let me kind of get back. Oh, sorry. Let me go back into here. So, okay, so it's inferencing. So it includes also a simple UI too. So therefore what I did was, let's get to that point. So in this case, right, I have fork, this project on the GitHub level. I fork it, and if you kind of over there, right, go over here. So I forked his project, and if I go to my repository, but actually, the thing is that because I have so many things, so I kind of created my own project, essentially my own project that I use for doing experimental thing. So I call it mglass dash lab. So if you want to kind of take a look, as you can see, I play around with Langstream, which is something I want to talk about, and it's basically making use of event streaming with GenAI type of applications. Is pretty cool too. Like think of loosely coupled agents, right? That kind of helps you with different components. You kind of like building different mix and match kind of building blocks, building data pipeline. I think it's a very useful type of library. So I'll be kind of showing you some demo, but for now, there's also Llama 2, which is another part of the Llama library, and then yeah, different things. So over here too, that's where I actually have forked this. As you can see, forked from Jake's. Let me kind of make it bigger. So I forked from Jake's Llama, so that's what I have then brought into here, right, into my IDE, and this is very kind of small, but anyway. So that's that. And then as you can see, I forked it. And then how I kind of need to do at this point, right? There's not much, let's say you need to be coding right off the bat if you want to use it. So essentially too, I hope this is big enough, right? Let me kind of make it a little bit higher so you can see better. I don't know why that this thing is, maybe I have to kind of adjust my video too, but for now, let me do this in here. So this is what I have forked and also clone it into my local, and then essentially too, all you need to do, right? And it's basically too. I can also do what I can do too is using Maven. You can kind of do a clean first. So just kind of make sure it's all clean, and then basically do this Maven compile. Compile. Okay. Oops. Okay, so compile, it's good going on. Now, just for sanity check, right? Now, first of all, too, what I showed you earlier is that, so test runs good. But like I said, it's actually skip 10 because I think it might still be using my, what you call it, my Growl VM too. So let's take a look. So I have set, oh, I'm actually using Tamarin 21. I think it's still skip. There's something funny about it. I thought it was only with the Growl VM, so that's what I've done, right? But now I've turned it back. So if you kind of take a look, I have kind of set it back to pointing to my Tamarin. Again, it's the open JDK, adopt open JDK from Eclipse, right? That's the 21 version I'm using. So, but no big deal. I think right now too, as long as we know, the test run, and then they skip 10 again because of something I think with the model. So if you kind of scroll back in here too, yes, it's basically telling you too is that there are no support for A-type I8 and B-type F32. So I think there might be certain models which I still need to do some more research to understand what it is. But I haven't got a chance to talk with Jake yet, but I kind of mentioned it to him. So anyway, let me kind of make sure I'm not missing if anybody is trying to talk with me on the on this, right, on the channel. I'm actually seeing a lot of folks in here. Thank you. I mean, if you have joined me, but sometimes it's funny when I'm streaming, I can't actually see who is there, right? But right now, I think it only shows me folks that have subscribed to it. So anyway, thank you. Thank you very much. So, okay, folks, if you want to try this, again, it's not very hard and you can quickly, essentially what you need is basically set up your Java. And how do you install, the Tamarin? You can also actually, you might be wondering, right? For folks that may not be familiar with Java, you can go to adopt OpenJDK, and then over here, that's all you need. We want OpenJDK. There are different VMs. Actually, it's interesting. Why is it not showing 21? Oh, you know why? Because I think Adoptium. Yeah, that's right. And so choose your particular platform too. And then that is kind of funny. So let's say I want OpenJDK. This is still having only JDK. Okay, here we go. I may not be going to the right thing. Let me do this. Adoptium home. Okay, pre-built OpenJDK, download Tamarind. So over here, do latest LTS. That's it. So go to latest, of that, and then you should be able to. I think it's something is happening in here. Yes, so it's downloading. So once you do that, right? Say on Mac OS, you can just quickly the package. You can just click on it, and it will install it for you. It is what it is. But for now, I actually don't need it, so I'll just cancel it because I've already done it. And also, too, in your IDE, I believe that I use IntelliJ. So IntelliJ here again, you could go over here, go to your module setting. That's where I'm telling it, right? I want 21, and the thing is, go to project, and then over here too, you can actually download it from here too. You can say download JDK, um, and then you can then select the ones that my IDE support, which is 21, and that's how I downloaded mine. And there are different. Bear in mind too, there are different architecture, especially for Java too. There are different vendors, right? There's Amazon Corrado, Azul has Zulu community version, or Belsoft has Liberica, and Eclipse Tamarind. I tend to use that just because they also support Arch 64 because I have a M1 machine. So I like to use that, or you can use the Oracle one, or SAP also has one too. So there are also other versions, like IBM has Samaru. So I used to work for IBM, and they use OpenJ9 for their JVM. So otherwise, do the rest, as you can see, there's either using Hotspot or using the regular, I guess it's open, or let's say in Oracle, they have GraalVM. And that's what I'm kind of interested in. As you may know, right, GraalVM, what it is basically a polyglot. Meaning you can basically, it supports runtime that's not just Java, which is kind of amazing, and also like super fast too. Now, I won't have as much time to get into all the details, but I'm trying to get their developer advocate Alina to come and talk, for the Chicago Java users group. So stay tuned if you are interested in GraalVM in more of the details too. I'll have her come and speak for us. So anyway, so that's how kind of get back to it. Just thought that if folks are interested, right? If you are new, how do I even get started, right? I have to give a lot of credit. I mean, Java has grown so much over the years. It used to be harder to use. Somehow they think that everybody should know, everybody should be an engineer. But the thing is, though, a lot of us too could also be too concerned with our other things. We need the tooling to be very easy. So they have, in fact, make it a lot easier. So you can actually work through, again, through your IDE. And I think Visual Studio has it too, but I believe will be similar. So you can download it from there too. So okay, so that's that. Let's go back, right? So I set up my Java, basically also on command line, set up my Java home to point to my Tamarind 21 in this case. And then also make sure on my path too that I have set, the bin directory. I basically set my Java home, make sure Java home / bin is in the top of your path, before the other. Otherwise, I also, as you can see, I also have Tamarind 17. So anyway, so it should pick up Tamarind 21. So here we go. So as such, right, I did MVN. Okay, let's take a look. So the last I did was a test. So that means I already do build and everything. So I could actually do packaging too. So in this case, so it should then package it, is essentially generates all the jar files and everything. And okay, and then I think then that should be pretty good. Then I should be able to start running this. So let's go back to our README file. So this is Jake's instruction, right? So again, the fonts is kind of small. I thought I changed it. All right. Well, anyway, presumably you can see it, right? And well, I guess it's okay. Well, let me do this one thing because I have to actually go through this. Let me go through settings again. Because this is for the editor. I think for README file, let's see, file types. I don't know actually how. I've noticed that the README is obviously not the code, so I think that it might have been essentially for MD files, it has different rules to it. It doesn't apply for the coding, but in any event, general appearance. Wait, code editing. Well, anyway, I'm not sure which one, but in any event, not language. I don't think, or maybe like I'm not sure. Maybe it's like different file types, so I have to set something differently. I just off the top of my head, I don't know which one. And by the way, of course, I can also use AI assistant too, but I'm not going to use it in here right now. Not exactly writing code, but the idea is that what I've done in here, right? So Jake also provides a script called download. Okay, let's say I've got it all built. So what I need to do is basically download the model that I'm going to use. So if you kind of take a look too, let me kind of do this, bring it in. So this is actually, he provides this download script is essentially just a bash, shell script. And then it does all of these things. I quickly look at it, and then from there I was able to download. And so example here is basically you can download like a GPT-2 medium file too. So what it does is that it's actually this J Llama too. He's using Hugging Face. So we basically over here, right? If you want to see what it is doing, it is actually doing this. It's doing a curl. So the curl is basically fetching things from some HTTP endpoint. The endpoint is Hugging Face, right? And so he's just going there to download that model from Hugging Face. So this is actually huggingface.co, the model that we want. And then, then it also will need a bunch of kind of, I think the config kind of files, like there are JSON, different JSON files too. They are kind of required like config JSON, vocab.json, and tokenizer. So all of these things, right? And then all of these stuff for each, he does it like that. And then it generates. So just kind of out of curiosity. So what I did was models. So as you can see, I already did that, GPT-2 medium. So as you can see, config JSON, model, save tensor, tokenizer JSON, and vocab, right? But actually, the thing is the model save tensor is a directory here. Oh, it's not a directory. Okay, it's a binary file. Okay, so it can't. So that's actually the actual model. And the thing is, too, as I was reading up, is that you can actually download. You might be wondering, well, it's very big. Yes, if it is GPT 3.5, I think that would be huge, right? Much huger than GPT-2. But the thing is, GPT-2 gives you some very exciting answer, which I'm going to show you. So let's work with GPT-2 medium in this case, right? So it's a smaller file. And if you kind of take a look over here, right, it's like 151, or actually a 1 gig, right? So it's not that big in here. So, or actually I should say 1 gig. It's 1,519 gigabytes. So which is like this one would be 1 million bytes, and then 1 gigabyte. This will be 1,000 gigabytes, which is like one I think terabyte. No, actually, it's not. What am I talking about? This would be like 1,519. So what is it like? I'm kind of like bad with this. So okay, like a computer uh, bytes unit unit. So there's actually there's a byte, and then byte, and this would be, oh my gosh, I'm like so bad in this. Megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte. Sorry. So okay, so this would be like a terabyte of things in here, right? So 1,000 terabytes in here. Uh, not no wait. I mean, my thing doesn't have a terabyte to hold it to. So 1 gigabyte. Oh wait, sorry, nine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, sorry, this is 1 gigabyte. What am I talking about? 1.5 gigabytes. So it isn't like that, big in here. So this is the GPT-2 uh, medium model. So you can kind of play around with that easier too. Otherwise, too, I also kind of follow his instruction. There's also Jake also has his own Llama 2, which is making use of 7B, that model, and chat, Hugging Face, JLlama. I think it's quantization Q4. I don't know all of the details, but this is it. So over here is actually not too big either. This one is actually smaller than that. It's only, it's less than a gigabyte. It's 218 kind of megabytes is essentially. So, okay, so But the thing is that I try to run it with his model, but then it gives me some error. Oh, I'm sorry. I realize it is not showing. So let me move move this up a little. I think you see it better. Okay. So as such, right, as you can see, his is smaller. But the funny thing is, let's try to run it. Okay. So essentially over here, he provides another script called run. Oops. Ah, I'm in there. So okay, in this case, we can then do models, GPT. Let's run the medium. So, ooh, what is going on? Okay, here we go. What is going on now? Unmatched argument at index X. Oh, serve. I need to say serve. It starts a REST API for interacting with this model. So that's how you do it. So his code, underneath, right there, as you can see, right in here, there are like JLlama clients. So the client there will essentially do RESTful API calls to this model. So that's what I had forgot. And hold on a sec. Let me kind of. Okay, here we go. So now, just want to point out this native SIMD. SIMD stands for single instruction, multiple data. So it's a form of like parallel processing from the vector API too. So these are some of the things that are kind of interesting. Now, folks, not sure if you're familiar with Little Endian. It basically tells you, in your machine, where is the beginning bytes, right? So I think little endian is on the left side. That's when you set, and then the highest, essentially the highest order bit, where it starts and all of these things. But I'll kind of search for the exact kind of like translation for you. But I used to work on a project that was kind of interesting, that I actually have to work with the endians too. And so not sure if, folks, you're kind of still working with it or not. A lot of you maybe are kind of much younger, right? And maybe you don't deal with that because a lot of things have been abstracted out. So here we go. Now, how do I get to the to my interface, right? And so here is telling you localhost 8080. So let's kind of do a click on that. So it comes up now with this interface. So chat with JLlama. So what do we say? Okay, what should we ask? Okay, bear in mind this is only GPT-2, so it's kind of limited in the amount of data too. So can't expect. Yesterday it was funny too. I was searching for some things, right? Because I actually just saw something on Twitter flew by, and I searched for the guy, right? Essentially too, some things were right. And let me see, Andre. Renee, maybe some of you kind of have, is the gentle giant, right? And what is his? Okay, let's search for him and see what it finds, right? Ah, interesting. So see all of these things, it comes back kind of relentlessly. It's because this is again very limited model. It's giving you a lot of hallucinations, I should say, and I'm not sure why it's repeating it so many times. Okay, let me just do that again. Andre, I gotta like search for his his last name. I forgot to Andre Rene uh, Gentle. He has a nickname of Gentle Giant. Oh, let me search for this. I saw it on somewhere that kind of flew by, so I kind of searched for him, but using his, yeah. See, it's actually not right. What is it giving? Well, I should say, as you can see, GPT-2 is very limited. It's just not able to kind of figure things out so well, Essentially, too, why don't we try it with Google in this case, right? Okay. I'll just say Andre the Giant. Okay, here we go. So this is the guy I was trying to look for, right? And so I think the thing is, though, if I search for it with his last name, I think it came out okay. That's what I was trying. And so let's do that like this. Who is, okay, Rusimov? He's actually came from France. He's French. So or actually originally maybe Bulgarian, but then moved to France when he was little, so he's considered French. Oh, this isn't even coming out. See, this is what is called hallucination. It's basically for some reason go and return me a bunch of stuff. Must be like thinking that I'm asking for for a singer or something, a musician. Isn't it funny? But anyway, what else should we ask for? You have any idea? Or maybe we can just say, let's say maybe something that we know it should answer good, like when is Christmas? So let's do that. Oh wait, I kind of like have it. Let me move it up higher too. Uh, Actually, you know what? Let me kind of shrink it a little. I think it's good. Okay. When is Christmas? Let's see if it can figure it out now. So this is something correct because we know that sometimes, the context is kind of, it can't go wrong. Then I think the more common thing, and that's what GPT-2, this medium set has, right? So it's like for all the year and for all the season of Christmas, there's something in the air. But it's still, it seems a little mechanical, right? Because like I think with the latest version of let's say ChatGPT 3.5 actually came up with really good. How about that? Let me go to a ChatGPT and kind of do that. I think I already have it in here. ChatGPT. Okay. Wait, why is it? Okay, here we go. Let me kind of like bring it over here. It's basically okay. So okay, by the way, I was trying to search for J vector, all of these things. I wanted to see if it can find it, but actually it can't because ChatGPT 3.5 only contained data up to, I think, end of 2022, I think. So then it actually, yeah, as of my knowledge, you see it says as of, January 2022, and J vector came out this year, right? Sometime, I'd say, within the past 3-4 months, so it can't find it. But at least ChatGPT 3.5 is much better in terms of able to kind of say the right thing, telling you, well, I don't have that information, rather than kind of telling you the wrong thing. So isn't it amazing? So okay, so let me see. Let's do this one thing. So I was like saying, what is Christmas, right, in here? Okay, so I think the results in here is actually much better than GPT-2. Christmas is an annual festival commemorating the birth of Jesus Christ, observed primarily on December 25th as a religious and cultural celebration among billions of people worldwide. It is a significant holiday in Christianity and holds immense cultural and traditional importance in many countries, even among individuals who may not celebrate it for religious reasons. So, as you can see, it is much deeper than what this one, GPT-2, came out. However, you can kind of get a sense of what this all means, basically, right? Isn't it kind of interesting? And so, folks, I don't know if you're interacting with me. Let me kind of take a look and see if anybody say something. But it doesn't seem like you're saying anything. But I do seem to also see a bunch of folks too in here, and I've been talking already for like an hour and a half. So I won't continue in here. But like I said, if you want to play around with JLlama, you're welcome to. And why don't we actually give a try? Because right now it's already 4:15 or so in my time, right? And I've been streaming this for an hour and a half, and it's a bit kind of random, some of the things I'm doing. So and I keep saying that yes, I'll become more structured, but as long as I have too many things to do, then I kind of do this as more like on the fly. I have to admit that. So anyway, let's do this one thing, right? And this one is launched using GPT-2, but let's kind of launch it using Jake's thing. So okay, so let's go back to my terminal. Let me stop it. Now I've also downloaded Jake's the Llama 2 one. So let's give that a try and see if it works this time. I'm realizing that it is. Okay, here we go. So now you can see. So I'm going to run the client and then use a different model now. So that's the thing, with this particular inferencing engine, you have to restart or run another instance of it if you work, different models. It can't, same client can't work with multiple models, but that's okay for testing purpose. So let me do that. See, that's what is happening. I think I'm kind of getting an illegal argument exception in here. So I'm somehow not able to run the Llama 2 uh, you know, uh, kind of thing. So, you know what we'll do? Why don't we do this one thing? Let's search for another model on Hugging Face, right? So I keep talking about Hugging Face. So this way, you know how you can use it too. So if you need it, you can basically play around with JLlama. At least it can download the model for you, and then you can start playing around with it. So why don't we do this and pick something in here? Maybe like not way too big, maybe. Or actually, we can't tell until we click on it. So how about we do? Well, actually, try something like text to image. How about that? This one got well. This one only 92 downloads. I want something that's been downloaded a lot. Then maybe it's kind of making sure it is able to work quite well. Maybe should we do Meta Llama? But Llama. That's another thing. I have kind of enabled Llama, but then I think I still need to set up a bunch of stuff, so that may not work. I wonder if Stability AI would be able to do that. Shall we, or just do something like a playground? How about that? Something I just figure it might be a little smaller, but something that maybe a lot of people have used. Then maybe let's do this. How about like Microsoft Philosophy 2 Phi 2? Okay. Oh, this one has 2.7 billion parameters. It's using like Phi 1.5, right? I don't know how big it is. Let me kind of see. The model size is how that many billion of parameters. I just want something small so it won't take too long to do it. So excuse me. Maybe let's do Mistral AI and try this, right? This has a significant number of people downloaded it, 121. So, oh, this got 46.78. Oh, but tensor type BF16, it might not work with it. So let's do something. Excuse me. Something like maybe smaller. Let's kind of do text to image. Excuse me. Okay, let's give this a try, and then what we'll do, copy this, and I'll go back to here. And we know this particular Llama 2 doesn't work, so let's do that. Download. So let's use this shell script to download the one that we were looking at. Actually, here we go. I thought I could. Okay, it doesn't like actually copy. So let me copy this again. Copy, and I guess it won't work. And paste. Yeah, there we go. Stability AI, SDXL Turbo. Let's see. I mean, if it really takes too long, then we won't wait. But it might actually be quite big, right? Isn't it? Because seems to be taking a long time just for 0.1% or something. So in this case, let me abandon the idea. I just want some smaller thing, right, during this time. But I think would be fun too. So what I'll do is that I'll try to download some of these nice one, fancier one with images. That would be kind of fun too. We can see what it can generate for us. So let me see. Here we go. I can't find my cursor. Okay, I see some chat coming. Let me see if somebody is asking. No, nobody has asked anything, but feel free, if you want to ask something too. Let's do that. I probably shouldn't even have thought of going to Stability AI. These are like big vendors. Most likely they are giving out very, very big, models too. So let me kind of do something a little smaller. Maybe something like smaller. Maybe not that many people like. Although it may not work, but you know what? Let's kind of take a look. Well, this thing, there's like a playground AI. So let's see, right? let's see something that's smaller, but it doesn't tell me how many dimensions this has. Should we give that a try? I think we should, right? Aesthetic model, Playground V2. It contains a model that generates highly aesthetic images of resolution 1024 multiplied by 1024. You can use the model with hugging face diffusers. Okay, let's take a look and see. It doesn't guarantee it might work because it also doesn't tell me which tensor it is using. All of these things, so it may not be supported by JLlama right now. Yeah, so so that's the thing, right? I was hoping that we write a library that we can download any model and work with it, but I kind of doubt this would work. But giving such the fact, just for fun, why don't we do it, right? And just to see what happens. How about that? And this one doesn't give me a lot of things. So let me just do this one thing. Copy it, see what happens, right? Okay. So we do, again, download. And then we'll do, oops. This is a Playground AI. Playground V2 1024 pixel and aesthetic. Let's see what happens. This also appears to be going very slow too. So, well, in the meantime, why don't we do that? Let's search for another model that might be a little bit really like plaything, right? But of course, it may not actually get us what we want to. So, let's see. There's a Hugging Face H4. I'm not sure because let me see. I just wonder if there might be some that are smaller, like a medium or something. Okay, let's filter by name. Let's do something like small. Ah, okay, cool. So let's use some of these small things, maybe, right? Just to see what happens. I'm just like real curious. And even if it fails, we can kind of take a look to see. Oh, what is it? Who is it saying something? One party racia? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I'm not. I think somebody, one party racer, trying to sell stuff. I am sorry. I'm not here to buy stuff, but let me kind of go for some small. Like this one looks appear Facebook Blender bot small. Let's do that. It's a conversational. So let's take a look. Now, again, it may not work, right? Because it's a different model that Jake's stuff may not support. But again, it appears to be 90 meg, so tiny. Almost seems like it's tiny. So download, but this is a 10,000 downloads. So it's building open domain chatbots, right? Okay, so good conversations, blah, blah, blah. We show that large scale model can learn these skills, and we build variants of these recipes with 90 meg, 2.7 and billion and 9.4 billion neural models. I wonder, okay, let's take a look. It's small in the sense it's more for, um, kind of the number of dimensions is still big, so let's kind of take a look. I bet I bet that thing is still going. Yeah, see, it's only 5%, so let's not. Sorry. Okay, let's do that. All right, let's go here. I found out I cannot use. I wanted to. That's fine. Okay, here we go. And then I just copy in this small Facebook Blender bot small model. Let's see. Let's see what happens. So this, oh, wait. I mean, it seems fast, but guess what? Oh, it's 404. So maybe something is not working. The tokenizer model is not there. Although maybe it doesn't use tokenizer. What do you think? How about this? In this case, do a run client. And this is surf. And then models. Oh. Blender. Okay, now not sure if this would work, but it wouldn't. Okay, so Ah, okay. So I think it's expected because that particular one is not, it's just not, or JLlama isn't built for all models, right? There are certain types of tensor model. And again, what is tensor? Tensor is basically a very much of a, machine learning terminologies. We're talking about representing, your data in different types of mathematical models. And then these models, right, again, they are holding data in their respective number of dimensions. And essentially, too, you need tensor. They call it TensorFlow because you want to take the data in and basically do converting it to like higher dimensions type of models, too, like that. So they're just objects holding the data, and then just you want to do conversion for kind of inferencing type of purposes. So anyway, so that's what it is. So the tensor, unfortunately, this model is not supported by JLlama. So as such, and as you can see, right, the JLlama is a beginner. It doesn't support everything yet, but it is good to kind of have, for fun, as you can see too, right? And it may not be perfect, but it's a good way for you to get into the flow of things. It's simple enough. You can use that, even though it's very few models, but at least it works a little bit, so you can see how things actually work. So anyway, so with that, I've been talking for an hour and 45 minutes, and I was like coughing and all that. So I better go kind of rest up a little bit. I just got back, kind of from my trip, and I was still coughing, but I'm already doing better, but still some cough. So as you can hear. So just wanted to thank you very much. And I think it's getting dark in here. So let me kind of turn on the light, which I didn't do it. So just wanted to thank you so much again. And again, I need to tell Jake that we did this with JLlama. And again, if you want to try it out, right, let me share the link with you. If you are kind of interested, JLlama, where the this here we go. So this is the JLlama, the GitHub repo. And again, how I did is I clone it, and I was just showing you that. If you need more information, let me know. Also, another thing is this is the link to sign up for our vector database if you're interested, right? And you can always come back to this recording to kind of look for these kind of links too. And also, one more thing is basically my own Discord channel. This is my Discord channel if you want to stay in touch with me, and I'll be very happy to talk more. And in fact, before I forget to, I want to invite you to an experimental pre-holiday chat on my Discord server this Friday at 1 p.m. Central Time. So for European time, CET would be like around 8 o'clock in the afternoon, or 9 o'clock in Eastern European. So if you want to have a chat, it's just using Discord, the chat functionality there. And if you go to my channel, you'll be able to find in the events announcement, I have sent out the invitation, and I'll try to remind folks there. So first of all, sign up on my Discord, and then we can stay in touch too. And I promise you, I will try to do more streams, in the new year. And not only that, I think this time I'm just showing you how you can build and use something and understand how essentially the whole thing flows. But what I wanted to achieve at is basically get to the point of actually building these apps to kind of, how do you call the model? How do you do, the inferencing, do the templating, and also writing agents and all of these other things. So all of these goodies will come in the new year too. But the thing is though, next week is still 1 week before, end of year. So if I have time to, I will do another stream too during the holidays. So again, thank you so much again. And please, this is my Discord server. Please join me there. Oh, and of course, let me share with you the link to join my my event. If you actually go to my stream, and then wait, I didn't share it on the top event, but if you go to events info, my channel, I actually have that for you. But let me, like I said, let me copy. Let me copy this link so that okay. This pre-holiday. Okay, let me hide this first, and let me do this one thing, which is oops, nope, this is wrong, and let me do that. Let me do that, and here. All right, so pre-holiday Discord chat. This will be Friday. This Friday. This Friday, December 22nd at 1 p.m. That's Central. Oh, so this will be, because I'm familiar with CET, so 8. So, and this is the invite, right? So, and where did it go? But this is kind of weird when I do this. Oops, what am I doing? And when I enter in this thing, this one here. Okay, as you can see, this is the Discord, but I will, you know what I'll do? I'll also share it on the chat too. So then it will make it easier for you if you're interested in joining me. Essentially, I'll just copy in this whole thing and then I can copy and paste it too on the chat. So, okay. Oops. Okay. You'll find it on the chat now. Basically, the Discord chat for this Friday. I invite you if you want to talk. I think some folks have been asking me certain questions about Gen AI, machine learning. We are all trying to figure this out. There are lots of still unanswered questions, but I think it's an exciting area. So please consider joining. And with that, I want to thank you very much, and please, stay in touch. And thanks again for joining me today. Okay, take care.